Hello and welcome to Simon Miller's gaming show. It's based like the wrestling show, but it's about games. Something crazy going on with my lights. I'm incredibly washed out for some reason. The image behind me has gone all weird. It's one of the reasons I was late. I was trying to sort all this out. Let me see if I can fix that as we go. I should be able to... No, that didn't work. We'll fix it in the future. It's episode 1, even though technically it's not episode 1, which I'm going to explain in a second. But yeah, this will be the one with odd technical issues, which is always the way with YouTube. Let's face it, the microphone probably isn't working for all I know. Man, that image is all over the place. What are you doing, image? I can't move it either. What are you doing? I don't know what's going on. Is it that one? Maybe no, it's not that one. That took that off. This is fun, isn't it? This is how you want to start. I have no idea what is going on. I do know that next time I go and do the gaming podcast, I bet I'm like, oh, good. I've absolutely screwed up. I have no idea what's going on. There you are. Let me stretch you out. It's annoying me. That's absolutely rubbish. It will do for now. I don't know. So a quick update with what we're doing here. I used to do a podcast not that long ago, only a few months ago, called The Week in Gaming. And I just kind of fell out of doing it. It was just one of those things that... It's just life, right? And I guess my interest in games had waned, but given other things that I was doing, games took a bit of a back seat. But after talking to people on my Patreon, cheap plug, patreon.com/Simon316, that's the only reason I can do this. So if you can go and sign up, that would be great. Bunch of rewards up there. I thought, well, let's bring it back, but let's doing it like the wrestling podcast, because the wrestling podcast is, doing all right. It's kind of, I wouldn't call it a success, but it's growing, and that is cool. So maybe if we start doing it with games, we can get that to the same position, and I can give it a bit of longevity, give it a bit of financial, financial clout, I guess, which I do need to do it. And yeah, we'll just take it one step at a time. So if you are listening to this on the audio feed and you're like, oh my gosh, The Week in Gaming is back, I'm still going to call it The Week in Gaming. That is going to be the name of the show. But and I know there's already episodes of this on YouTube. For the sake of today, we're just hitting a big reset button. If multi-million-dollar corporations can do it, I can do it too. So we're going to call it Simon Miller's Gaming Show number 1 every Wednesday around this time. We're just going to talk about games. I don't know how long. Could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. You can participate in the super chat. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me I'm an idiot, especially given today's title. You can tell me your favorite games. You can give me your opinion. Again, all the super chat money that comes in goes back into the podcast and allows me to do this stuff. You know the deal. And if you haven't signed up to my YouTube channel, you can search for Simon Miller, and you can do that right now. Please do give me a subscribe. We'll start off with the super chats because amazingly some people have already thrown stuff in there. So Brandon Carvalho says, are you going to play the new Star Wars game? By the way, Dark Souls is great. Yeah, the new Star Wars game's out in like 3 weeks, which I had no idea was that soon, but you're damn right I'm going to play. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I even like the Force Awakens games. I think that first level in The Force Awakens, where you just get to play as Darth Vader, is flipping brilliant, and that should have been the whole game. Everyone's like, oh, you're so overpowered. Who cares? It was an absolute blast. So yeah, Brandon, I'm looking forward to that. And shout out to my man Breakfast at Noon, who just put some money in the super chat. Breakfast at Noon, technically brunch, but I appreciate it. Right, so let's talk about Dark Souls. I mean, mostly what we're going to do each and every week is talk about games that I've been playing, up-to-date gaming news. We're going to be relevant with the things, but I felt like as we are hitting reset, I kind of tie in a bit of old with a bit of the new, because one of the reasons, again, like I started doing this, is a lot of people that remember me from my videogamer.com days were like, Miller, we signed up to your YouTube, we subscribed to your YouTube channel for gaming content, and it's cool you're doing the wrestling stuff, but can you start doing gaming stuff again? Because we miss it. So I thought, okay, well, that's fair. So I thought we'd give a little bit of a nod to the past, and if you don't know me from that era, which of course is completely cool, I can catch you up to date. I can bring you up to date. So, Dark Souls. Now, usually when I talk about Dark Souls, I'm very over the top. I deliberately try and poke the bear and wind people up because I know the Dark Souls community is super passionate, and I think that's awesome. I don't like Dark Souls, is the truth of it. I remember before I played it, somebody told me that I would love it, and so I got really excited because I'm a big RPG fan. But it just, my issue with it is, and again, so my apologies to everybody that knows all this already, but this is the first time I've ever tried to be critical about it as opposed to just troll, which is what I used to do, let's be honest. My issue with it is, and again, it's not a bad, the title of this video is deliberately to get people to tune in, I understand that. But it's not a bad thing if you don't think it's a bad thing. But to me, when I sit down to play a video game, I don't want the biggest challenge to be, how long can you survive before I kick your ass? I'm not even a big fan of hard games. That's not the right word, because some games I think need to be hard to be good. But there's this like reputation in video games. If you play something on easy, you're like some kind of nerd, some kind of loser. Oh, you're not a real gamer. I think that's absolute nonsense. I won't name names here because I don't want to upset anyone. And I'm going to tell more of these stories as we go. When I used to review games, which I used to do for a living, that's how I got to where I was today. I was involved in the gaming industry. There was one game that I reviewed, and I admitted in my review that at one point I put it down to easy. Because I felt like on the normal difficulty, the game was just not skewed right. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to leave out names. Then the representative of that game, or the PR of that game, got in touch with me and said, we're a bit annoyed you played it on easy because it's designed to be played at normal difficulty. And my response to that was, well, if that's the case, why do you have it as an option? Like, if you think me putting your game onto easy breaks it, why the hell did you release it with that in mind to begin with? So, I've always fallen on that side. I know some people disagree with that, and that's great. Debate and opinion is what make the world go round. But when I first sat down to play Dark Souls, and I am going to talk about Bloodborne in a second too, I just didn't like the fact that it kept kicking my ass. And I understand that's the satisfaction when you finish the game. You're like, man, that game came at me, but I was able to burst through to the other side, and now I feel like I've accomplished something. And I would argue that it's good that you get that kind of feelings, because a stupid criticism that some people have of video games is, oh, you just sit there and you don't achieve anything by the end of it. And yes, but you could say that about a TV show, a movie. It's what you take out of it emotionally or personally. But personally, I will say this. I do think elements of the original Dark Souls, not necessarily 2, 3, or Bloodborne, I do think there are elements of the original Dark Souls that were broken mechanics that other games would have had their asses kicked for, but because it managed to find this cult following and this niche, everyone just gave it a free pass and went, oh no, that's how the game's meant to be played. And I was like, that's bullcrap. If Activision, actually not Activision's the worst, if EA's a better one, if EA had released this, everyone would be damning it and stuff, but I do think it progressed and I do think it evolved. But in no world do I want to be walking down the same corridor 72,689 times, only to be killed by yet another random enemy because I didn't see him coming from the left. And the whole point is I'm meant to learn and do wash, rinse, repeat. It doesn't work for me at all. It drives me absolutely nuts. It stresses me out. But again, please, in the chat, let me know your thoughts on Dark Souls. And it's a contentious issue because I know this, given all the ridiculous videos I've done over the years. Half the people agree with me and half the people don't. And they're always the best situations when you can divide a line like that. But yeah, Bloodborne, I think, is the thing with Bloodborne is, again, I'll give you a little story. Most of you probably know. Well, you know what I mean? That contingent of people probably know. I deliberately played through Bloodborne on live streaming when I was at Video Gamer with my man Tomori. Shout out to Tomori. I hope he's doing well. He won't be watching this, but I hope he's doing well all the same. And the reason I did it was because I'm an asshole. And I was like, well, if I finish Bloodborne, I can give it a score, and no one can say, well, Melo, you can't give it a score because you never finished it. Something else I don't agree with. If you play a game for 5 hours and you think it's the worst thing ever, you're allowed to give it a bad score then and there. That's 5 hours of your time. Let's say the next 5 hours are brilliant. Well, half of the game was crap. Anyway, we'll talk about reviews another time, I think. That's a whole different thing. So I did. I sat there. I played through all of Bloodborne. Again, I'm a horrible person. I finished it, and I never uploaded the last bit just to troll people. I was very immature in my younger days. I still am. But I finished it, and I genuinely give it 4 out of 10 for all the reasons we've talked about. I do think that is a better developed game. It's very polished. It looks very good. I'm not going to lie. I did get that rush of adrenaline when I was able to defeat the first boss and the cowboy guy. I don't remember the names. Especially because a lot of people told me instinctively and quite naturally I was quite good at the game. And if you're good at something, you're always going to enjoy it more. Like, there are some sports people that aren't actually that passionate about the sport, but the love they get from it is because they're good at it. And that's, how they fill up their self-worth tank. So I think Bloodborne is the best out of the 4. There's 3 Dark Souls and a Bloodborne, I believe. There's that other game. Oh, man, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is the absolute worst. I did a video series for VG247 that you can check out. I did a couple of videos, I should say. I mean, I did exaggerate my reactions in that game. I swear that took 15 years off my life. That is just... And I understand. It's what we've all been talking about. Like, I don't want to tie it in too much, but I'm currently going through my novice years as a pro wrestler, and the biggest kick I get out of every match I'm doing at the moment is that I get better every single match. And that's a huge satisfying thing for me. And it's the same with Sekiro, Bloodborne, Dark Souls. When you progress and get better, you're like, oh man, this is amazing. I now feel really cool. But I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I haven't gone through the chat yet, but anyone that goes, get good, can kiss my ass. I'll do what I want. You don't understand the game because you're crap. Fine, that's a fair criticism. But I'm not good at it, and it's horrible. And I only have, if I'm lucky, 70 years on this planet. I don't want to spend a chunk of them fighting numpties. Let's go through the chat. My man Brandon is back, and he says, in your opinion, what makes a great game? Well, in my later years, or currently, story and gameplay. Visuals, I think, have reached such a peak right now that unless we're going to do something crazy, I don't think anything's going to come along that makes me go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Unlike the jump from standard definition to high definition. But if a game plays really well and it's really fun to use a controller, and you've also got an incredible storyline encouraging me to keep playing, I'm a sucker. It does mean these days indie games kind of appeal to me more, which is sacrilegious. I shouldn't say I'd take that, I retracted. But yeah, they're the two things that get me. If I'm really enjoying playing a game and there's this sort of drip feed. That's why I like RPGs. That's why when we talk about sort of favorite games ever made, KOTOR gets in there, Oblivion, because it had so many strands of these narratives, Ocarina of Time, same reason. Classic story, but really well told. Same with Shadow of the Colossus. That told a story in a different way. It left massive holes for you to fill in the gaps, but it was so well done. And it was so well developed and had such great foundations that I was able to buy into that. My man Prish in the super chat says, you're a man that wears many hats, aren't you, Miller? That's very kind. So many people say that. That's kind of always the way that I've wanted to be. So, yes, I do. I just do things I'm passionate about. And that's always the advice I'd give to anybody. If something takes your fancy, just throw yourself into it. You never know where you're going to end up. Right now, I'm doing a gaming podcast from my house. I never thought that was going to happen. Breakfast at Noon. Breakfast at Noon is Man That You Fear. Dude, I didn't know you changed your name. Well, shout out to Man That You Fear, Breakfast at Noon. Long-time supporter of my content. Good to see you, my friend. You need to play The Beast Inside. Hang on. Googling it. Give me 1 second. This is probably going to come up with some porn, isn't it? The Beast... No, I don't, dude. There's a little update for you. Do not like scary games. Something else you can also see on the YouTube from my video gamer days. My man Cleaver Slips is in the super chat as well. Dude, you didn't have to do that, but that's very nice all the same. And he says, if Tom Ori was here, he'd be asking you about Project Gotham Racing. Wouldn't he just? A little shout out there to the video gamer crew. Shout out as well, because some people do come up to me and say that they've been watching since the video gamer days, which I find amazing. And again, a lot of people, the reason this, came to be is because so many people got in touch asking me to start it up again. So if you have been on board since the video gamer days, I mean, thank you. Thank you. This is crazy. And there is I'm not going to say what it is because that's not fair, but in the next couple of weeks, there is a little treat for you as well. Hopefully, I'll keep an eye on my Twitter at Simon316, cheap plug. And if you've missed that kind of thing, it's just nothing massive, just a little snippet, but I'll tease it and I'll leave it there. So yeah, that's my opinion on Dark Souls. I say worst game ever, probably to play the fool a little bit because it's fun to get those kind of reactions. And I'll never play one again though. It's too much. I think Bloodborne 2 is currently in development or something like. I guess, or maybe Sekiro 2. I don't know. I'm just not good enough. If you want to say, Miller, the only reason you don't like it is because you're not good enough, that's fine. I will I will take it. I will absolutely take it. Shout out to everybody watching live on YouTube right now. Again, you have multiple ways to absorb this content. You can just search for it. It's going to be so confusing. I am going to update actually, you know what? I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to update the Week in Gaming feed so it says Simon Miller's Gaming Show. But just search for that on iTunes and whatever. And if you want to come watch it live on YouTube, search for my channel. And again, patreon.com/Simon316 is how you can support all this. If you think, you know what, I appreciate what Simon does and you'd like to do that. If not, just give me a subscribe. That's all I ask for. And yeah, the super chat. We're going to talk about some current stuff now. So if you've got anything that you want to say, just say it and we can talk about it. So games out this week, because everyone always likes talking about that. And I haven't played any of them. Well, I kind of played one. But still, if you have, you can let me know. And if not, I've got opinions on all. The first is Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2020. I find it incredible that series is still going on. I was working on magazines when the first one came out. I remember, and we were like, this is weird. After all these years, Mario and Sonic, like these two, what do you even call it, enemies, coming together in an Olympic game from Sega. Oh, and Nintendo, but it was just like bizarre. But I do quite like them. Like, I like track and field games. I miss the whole, when you used to go mental. Do you remember that? Like on track and field where you had to like vibrate your hand to hit a button over and over for your guy to go faster. But you wound up like gritting your teeth and going, It was strange. And I know we've kind of moved on from there a little bit, but I'm 99% sure this one has like old school 2D events. And that's the main reason I want to play it. I love those old track and field games. There's one on the Game Boy called Track Meet. Track Meet is one of the best games nobody ever talks about. So, I don't necessarily think I'll go out my way to get this until it drops in price. I mean, the thing with Olympic Games is I usually want, like tennis, I usually want to play them when a big event is on. And the Olympic Games aren't until next summer, as we know, hence the title. So I'll probably wait till this drops in price and pick it up. But I do get a kick out of them. And I do think if you play it same sofa multiplayer with someone else, especially if they're not into games, you can kind of open the door for them a little bit. So that'll be interesting. Death Stranding's also out this week. I've read the reviews. Shout out to my man Kirk on VG247, who I thought did a really good review to kind of explain it. I like Metal Gear a lot. The first Metal Gear Solid I thought was awesome. I like Metal Gear Solid 2, which I know nobody does, but I thought it was... I like the circumvention of him taking such risks with a sequel, which we're also going to talk about later when it comes to Overwatch. Metal Gear Solid 3, I never actually got around to playing Snake Eater, which is terrible because so many people say it's the best one, but that's on my pile of shame. We've all got it. We'll do a whole episode of that one day, I think. Metal Gear Solid 4 is one of my favourite games ever. I thought the cinematics, the cutscenes are way too long. And the worst bit was, I remember I was halfway through one of the penultimate cutscenes, and I went to the loo, and I pushed start and to pause it, and I threw my controller on my sofa, and I think if you push start select, it skipped the cutscene, and you can't skip a cutscene in Metal Gear. It's confusing enough as it is, and it skipped it, so I had to go back to my last save and get through it all again. Oh, it was a nightmare. It was awful. And Metal Gear Solid 5 I never got around to playing either. But Kojima I do think is... I don't want to call it a flawed genius because that sounds really negative, but I think the way he approaches games is absolutely fantastic and absolutely amazing. But this one just sounds bonkers. It sounds nuts. It sounds like, again, tying it into wrestling, when Vince Russo was allowed to run wild and didn't have his Vince McMahon filter. And what we've got is this bizarre game featuring that dude from The Walking Dead, where there's oil and babies and stuff. I kind of want to play it because it looks so bizarre, but that's also why I don't want to play it. Tying back into the Dark Souls thing, do I really want to spend my time playing something that's just going to confuse my brain? But I appreciate the fact he exists. It's not for everybody, and not everyone's going to play it, but I would much rather we had the option than not, right? Because I don't want Call of Duty 100 times, and I like Call of Duty. I think it's a really fun game. But if everything was Call of Duty, things would get boring. So I appreciate Hideo Kojima in that sense. But if we're talking about marketing and promotion, at no point have I watched a trailer or watched some gameplay footage or seen an interview of him that's made me go, oh, I want to play that. Unless, of course, as a man who is not into drugs and has never smoked a cigarette, I want to find a way to get that kind of hallucination feeling. I can probably play Death Stranding. I'd imagine I'd freak out a little bit. Shout out to my man Jason Smith, who says, nice to see you're back to video game podcasts. Your playthrough of God of War last year was brilliant and made me want to play it. I really enjoyed it. Jason, that's so nice, because my own insecurities got the better of me with that, and I stopped doing that series because I thought nobody wanted to watch them. So knowing that you enjoyed it and the fact it made you want to play it, well, you've made my day, Jason. Thank you very much. We should start Let's Plays again, really. I'm going to wait till a game comes out that I'm super passionate about. Like God of War was a good one. But sometimes I did Spider-Man. I should have done Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man, but it's not like, my first love. So yeah, when a game comes out that I really, really like, I will do that again. Thanks, man. That's really nice. My man Sean Gihorn in Super Chat says... Bam, bam. Can't please everyone in gaming. People bash the Souls games for being too hard, yet are bashing Outer Worlds, awesome game, for being too easy. Smack my head. Are they really? See, Outer Worlds is something that I want to get on. That's the new Obsidian game. I've always liked Obsidian. Even Alpha Protocol, which I think by their own admission was a glitchy, awful mess. It had elements, like going back to talking about a good story, the branching pathways and the choices it gave you were superb. I didn't see people saying it was too easy. You can't win. There you go. It goes to show. I bet that I personally would appreciate Outer Worlds more because in my current state, if I can just sit down and play a game I enjoy without worrying about the difficulty, that's going to appeal to me more. I don't want to be challenged by games. If you do, that's awesome. I don't think they should go away, much like the Kojima stuff. But right now, I'm looking for experiences over challenges. And obviously the challenge is a hangover from arcade games where it's like put another pound in, put another pound in. That shouldn't go away. That should always be there. But I don't think, leaning on the entertainment side, the experience side, the atmosphere side, the whatever, is a problem. And some people are way down on that. And my man Brandon Carvalho's back in the Super Chat and said, did you hear that the team that makes Dark Souls is making a game with George R.R. Martin? It's called 11 Light. Would you consider playing that? I did see it. I probably would wait to read about it and watch, a few trailers first, because I do like George R.R. Martin. I like Game of Thrones. And I respect Dark Souls. I just hate it. But that's kind of a bit of a back and forth. But no, I would never judge anything before it came out. I need to, see how it's being marketed and then go and do my own research and try and figure out if it's for me. Because if it's clear that it's aimed at the Dark Souls crowd, then it's, there's no point me playing a game just to hate it or crap all over it. So I wouldn't do that. But I am intrigued. What a partnership that is. It's not something we would have seen 5 or 10 years ago. And Dark Souls really was never meant to go on to the success that it had. Shout out to my man Ashley Day that used to work down in Games TM, which is at Imagine Publishing, where I always used to work, where we became friends. He called that game out before anybody. He gave the original Dark Souls a 10, and everyone thought he was crazy. Now, in hindsight, he was some kind of gaming savant. He never gets the credit for that. So, Ashley Day, there's your credit. I'm going to give it to you. I remember laughing in your face. I still think you're nuts. But you were right. And my man Dan Lemley in the super chat says, have you ever played Borderlands, The Last of Us, or the Pokemon series? Weird this one, right? Given that I love Nintendo, there's some information if you're brand new to this and you want to know what Miller loves. Love Nintendo. Brought up on the NES and the SNES and Mario and Zelda. I mean, they will always be my favorites. And the fact that the Switch is able to sit in its own little box, I think is the greatest thing ever. You've got Xbox and PlayStation fighting it out. Nintendo's like, meh, whatever. We're going to do our own thing. Absolutely fantastic. I've never played Pokemon. And now it's so far gone. I'm like, I'm not going to get into it now. But I don't know what it was. It's just one of those things that I never got around to playing. And I mean, I could do it now, but I don't think I will. I don't think I'm ever going to dip my toe in. Same with Borderlands. I have played Borderlands, and when the first one came out, I did a lot of online co-op with friends and stuff. I thought it was okay. I guess I kind of just ran out of time for that kind of thing, which I don't mean that it makes me sound like a dick. I don't mean, too busy. I mean, I was literally just too busy, and everybody else was playing, and I wasn't. Last of Us, however, I have a story about The Last of Us. So again, I was working at Video Gamer, and I played the demo when it came out. And if you remember the demo, it's just a lot of Joel walking around with planks, and then setting up planks, and then getting Ellie to run over planks. And I was like, what the flip is this? In context of the game when you play it, it absolutely makes sense why it's a downbeat, slow-paced bit. But when you play it in the demo, it's like, this is a terrible demo. And I stand by that to this day. It was the stupidest thing that Naughty Dog and Sony could have put out. But no, I played that over a bank holiday weekend because nobody else could review it. And I said, well, I'll do it. I don't have anything planned for bank holiday. I'm happy to... Obviously, it's a privilege to be able to do things like that. And it blew my brain. I mean, it absolutely blew my brain. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 10. In fact, let's look now. That sums up my brain, doesn't it? I'm 99% sure I gave it a 10. Last of Us Video Gamer. I don't want to read it, though. I bet it sucks. Oh, my gosh. 14, 15, 16, 17. 6 years ago. Kill me. Oh, my gosh. My computer's gone nuts. Where's the score? Yeah, I gave it a 10. I was correct. I don't want to read that. Yeah, I gave it a 10. I just thought it was wonderful. I thought it was a wonderfully paced game. Again, I thought the story it hit me in ways that most games don't. I won't spoil it. I think the first sort of 20, 30 minutes sets the scene for all of that. Genuinely, the best game on PS3 for my money, and one of my favorite games ever. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I know some people weren't fans of it, and that's cool too. Alex Birdfox in Super Chat says, what do you think will be the future of WWE games after the 2K disaster? Well, it's not been good. There's no two ways about it, although I'll be lying if I said all the glitch videos that come out haven't cracked me up, because they absolutely have. The thing is, hopefully it will turn out to be for the best, right? It certainly seems like the team has taken this very seriously. I know one patch has come out. I think another patch is coming. And hopefully what it means is when we get to the next 12 months or the next year, they will have doubled down on all of this and ensured that's the best game we get for a while. It's not great. It's not good. It's a massive shame, because I actually thought 2K19 was pretty decent and heading in the right directions. But I guess this is one of those years where, Ukes went off to do his own thing. I can't remember the name. Visual Concepts, I think, is the name of the developer. I always get that confused with somebody else. They came in and must have had some struggles. That is the issues with having a yearly sports game, though. And sometimes you just have to go, maybe we shouldn't release one this year. I get it, because you can't win in that situation, because then you have loads of fans going, I can't believe you didn't release the game. But in this instance, it would have been better. I think the backlash would have been a lot less if you just didn't get a game, especially if the one afterwards was awesome. So I'm hoping that we do fix this. I'm hoping if you have invested, you get the product that you expect and the product that you want. And again, when we get to 12 months down the line, we get a WWE game that we wanted, right? That's what I hope. But yeah, I think the future of it will be fine. There is certainly some make good to do. Certainly some rehabbing to do. But hopefully this is the catalyst for that. But yes, it wasn't ideal. Ice Blaze in the super chat says, Metal Gear Solid 2 rules, got all the dog tags. Extreme was nuts. Wow, man, you smashed through that. And going through it on Extreme can't be easy. That game is hard. If you try and play that game now, oh my gosh, it's almost impossible because it's got this weird control system and this weird bird's eye view. And then the first person stuff, we have to hold all 9 buttons. You can't play it in 2019. That was a game you had to play in what, like 2002? I gotta look that up now. I don't like looking stuff up because my table wobbles. I don't know why it annoys me, but it does. It goes to show what a budget operation this is. Metal Gear Solid 2 came out. I said 2002, and it came out in 2001. I'll take that. It's good. Scorpio 1 in the super chat says, can only do a £2 super chat. Please read below. Okay. My son and I saw you wrestle Sunday. We had a sign. Gutted, couldn't have an after for an autograph as we had to get back to Essex. Please wish my son Oscar a happy 5th birthday for yesterday. Well, I saw your sign. I was on the ropes when I saw that sign, so I've got to let you know you made my absolute day with that. I loved it. Second of all, thank you so much for coming to see me wrestle. Always blows my mind. Obviously, thirdly, Oscar, happy birthday, my friend. Big 5. Smash it. Enjoy it. Hopefully, you got some video games to play. Tie it into that. And yeah, thank you so much for being there. Messi in the super chat. Let's play Undertale ? I'd love to cry with Simon. The problem is, Messi, I've played Undertale, so I know what's coming, and I think you'd lack the actual reactions. But look, honestly, I mean, look, we're talking about games now. Let's tie it into the YouTube stuff. Shout out to Ice Blaze as well, who threw some money in the super chat. Just tweet me at Simon316 or comment whatever. If you want me to, let's do new games that are coming out, because let's be honest, that's what gets the most traction. That's what people are most interested in. What games are coming out over the next 6 months that genuinely you would like to see me play, being a Let's Play series or whatever, or live stream it. That's what I should say. We'll live stream it. So just let me know. You drop me a line, drop me a comment. I'll make a list, and if it all works out, we'll do it. Like, I want to make sure I give back, especially to patrons, because I know there are patrons that signed up for the streams, and obviously they morphed into these streams, but I do want to get back to doing Let's Plays, etc. So let me know. Like, I want to make content that people want to watch and that I enjoy. Simple as that. Robert Jackson, what games, and super chat, what games are you looking forward to next year? Let's get it up. I can't even think. Well, Last of Us 2 is next year. That just got delayed, right? So, game releases 2020. Get everything we just said, The Last of Us 2. Of course I'd want to do that. Where's that? No. Give me the Google. Do that thing where you just have a bunch of video games 2020. Usually it gives you that like little carousel at the top of the... There we go. That's what I want. So I'm just going to go through a few of them. Cyberpunk 2077 has not got me yet. I'm not 100% sure what to make of it. I think I'll wait until I see more. Marvel's Avengers I want to play because I'm massively intrigued. Given how successful the Marvel universe is now, you have to carry that across to video games. Last of Us Part 2 we've talked about. There's no point me playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm not a fan of Final Fantasy games, which you will know if you've followed me for a while. I'm not here just to crap over stuff. I'll do it as a joke, but that's a joke. I don't actually mean it, as I still find out with some of my more, what I think is humorous content, goes over people's heads, and that's cool. I still love you all, but please know I never ever intend to offend you. If you like something, I think that's the greatest thing in the world. Doom Eternal is absolutely my most anticipated game of 2020. I love Doom 2016. I was lucky to host a stage for Bethesda EGX this year, so they let me play the Doom Eternal demo. It's just so good. It's like a rhythm action game where you beat the crap out of things and there's metal playing in the background. It's all the things that I love. So yeah, Doom Eternal is definitely up there. No More Heroes 3 is coming out. I didn't even know that. Otherwise, I think that's probably... I mean, there'll be some other games that will come out that will grab my attention. But just looking at them from a list point of view, as I'm doing now, they would be my my top ones. Right, other stuff that I wanted to talk about. Just Dance 2020 comes out this week. Smashing it, Ubisoft. Like, all the credit in the world for keeping that going. I don't think it's on Wii anymore. It was on Wii for a long ass time. But you've got to respect it. You've got to respect the game. I'm doing it again, but I want to know when the first Just Dance came out. Just Dance 1, Answers on a Postcard. But that was a smash on the Wii. It was the Wii that made that franchise, and they're still able to do it. 2010, 9 years. I respect it. I respect it massively. And Need for Speed Heat comes out on Friday. Where did it? I love Need. I still kind of do love Need for Speed. And out of nowhere, a new one is coming out called Heat. I looked for some reviews because I wanted to get an idea. Nobody's got any reviews yet, so maybe they'll be dropping in the next 24 hours or so. But I read a couple of people's previews, and all I took away with is it's just the intro of the game, so I don't take this as a good or bad. But they said it was cutscene heavy, focused on story. The controllers aren't the most comfortable thing in the world, and there was a heavy focus on drifting. I don't mind that. I think a well-worked drifting mechanic into any video game can be an absolute winner, especially when it comes to driving. But if it's good, I hope it's good. I like, back in the day, Need for Speed Canyon, the forgotten Need for Speed, is absolutely brilliant. We used to have those canyon races where you kind of, dabbled in story stuff and then you had a canyon race against someone else. That game was awesome. And it wasn't meant to be awesome. It got crapped all over. I really loved it. And when Need for Speed is good, it does offer you something different. Like Need for Speed What was it? I think it was Pursuit. The Cops and Robbers one. It's just a fantastic video game all around. But I was amazed that comes out on Friday. That has gone under my radar, to say the least. But I hope it's good. I'll buy a good racing game. I always like a good racing game. And also Red Dead Redemption 2 for PC has come out recently. Let me rephrase that. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is an absolute work of art. I don't think anybody else could have made that game but Rockstar. I'm absolutely blown away by it, but it's just not for me. I don't like survival mechanics because I'm bored. Well, I guess I'm lazy. I just want the game to do it for me. And there's just too much downtime, but I think it needs all of that stuff to create the atmosphere that it does. It's a brilliant video game. It's just not a video game that ticks my boxes, if that makes sense. But I would never rag. I think anyone that rags over that game and says it's rubbish, I'm like, this game is just not rubbish. The game is so well layered and so well built and has so many ideas in it that other companies just wouldn't even think of. It's a reason why Rockstar can just beat to their own drum, because they just make incredible experiences. And I do love Cowboys. I guess I just wasn't in the right place. But it's an amazing work of art. If you've never tried it, you should at least give it a go, because if you'll love it, you'll absolutely love it. Jason Smith says, good shout in the super chat. The new Star Wars game could be great for a playthrough. You know what, dude? That is not a bad idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that in the community feed on YouTube, put it up to a vote. If people want to say it, we'll do it. And it's out in a couple of weeks. I would enjoy that as well, because I don't know that much about it other than the headlines. Good shout, Jason. We should absolutely do this. Lee Spicer has said, hey, Simon, in the super chat, what do you think of Death Stranding? We kind of touched upon it. I just think it's a very smart person's, you can do whatever you want fantasy. I'll never play it. I'll never play that video game. That's not true. I am a bit fascinated and intrigued by it. And again, I think Kojima is pretty smart, but it just scares me too much. I think I'd be lost after 2 hours, and I'd worry that my brain had just exploded over the floor. I'd have to keep tweeting out, did this happen in Death Stranding, or do I need to go and see a doctor? And I think it's amazing that a person is able to conjure up those thoughts, not necessarily sure it's for me. My man Sean Gearhorn in the super chat says, are you up to date on all the backlash over Fallout 76? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? Well, I am only a little bit, so I don't want to over-comment on something I haven't thoroughly researched. But from what I can work out, they announced it was going to be a subscription service after saying that they wouldn't do that, and now people are really mad. I don't know I'll look into it and I'll let you know next week, hopefully, but I don't know. It all depends, because if I looked at it and thought they were offering something, let me phrase this carefully. I don't mind people going back on things they said if I think it's going to be of benefit for the gaming community and the game itself. Like, we all say things and go, oh, what did I say that for? Which is why we should never talk in absolutes. You should never say this will never happen, because it may do. And if they do that, of course. And I know there was a lot of controversy with it already with the canvas bag that came with the special editions. That wasn't ideal. But yeah, I need to look at it all and see if I thought it was actually going to benefit the game. If I thought it was going to benefit the game, then I would probably be behind it. But I don't know. But the fact there was a backlash probably means that something went down. But again, I don't want to comment on things that I'm not well educated on, because that just makes me an idiot. So that's all the games that are out this week. If you're playing any of them, do let me know. I'm always intrigued about people's thoughts. In terms of news, I don't think massive amounts has been going on at the moment. I mean, we are getting to the latter part of the year where games come out, but things calm down. I was massively intrigued by this Fortnite news. I've got it written down here. FaZe Jarvis, who's obviously this big Fortnite dude, he got banned from Fortnite forever, for using a cheat bot. Now, at first I was like, well, that seems fair. Don't cheat in Fortnite. And again, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm done with Fortnite, not my cup of tea. But he wasn't doing it in competition. He was only doing it on a YouTube stream, and there were some other dudes that did it in competition, and they only got banned for a couple of weeks. So that's a bit eyebrow raising. However, with that said, maybe Epic were just like, you know what? we're having a no tolerance policy on this now because we need to wipe out cheating. Now, I don't know how you even get an aimbot into Fortnite. I'm going to guess there's some kind of shenanigans that are going on. The thing is, they have made it quite clear. It took me 2 seconds to find all the wordage and the verbiage from Epic saying, don't do this, don't do that, we will ban you for life. So, just research that stuff before you do it. But a ban life, because obviously, Fortnite works on servers. As a guy that, remembers days where you just stuck a cartridge into a console, it's amazing that now you can just ban someone forever. I don't really know how that works. Can he just set up a new account? I don't know. But yeah, he seemed very upset about it. I watched his video. He was not pleased at all. But it just goes to show, don't cheat. But I would be intrigued to see what everybody thinks about that. If you are in the Fortnite community, do you agree with what's happening to him? Has he been a massive dick? Are Epics being the dick? For someone that has played Fortnite a lot and understands the game but is not really in the community, I don't know whether this was Epic going crazy or whether it's double standards. But the guy, banned for life from a video game. Nuts. My man Brandon says in the super chat, would you consider streaming Sekiro? You could just do it once. I kind of want to see Angry Simon. Well, I could do, but you can just watch it now. If you type in Simon Miller Sekiro, there's 2 videos out there of me losing my mind. Again, let you behind the fourth wall. It was exaggerated for effect because I thought it made it more entertaining for a video. But it's all based in reality. Those games are very frustrating. Most people are saying if you cheat, you should be banned. He deserved it. I mean, I think there's something to that, especially if we're treating it like a sport. If we're talking about it in the sporting context, absolutely. You can't cheat in professional sports, and that includes esports. Esports are massive these days. Millions of pounds and dollars are won and lost every day. You have to, you have to abide by the rules. Just don't cheat. Also, what is the point? I don't mind, back in the day when you were going to use a Game Genie on Mario Kart. That's all right. It's Mario Kart. So it doesn't matter. You're just playing it on your SNES. But these days, when you're out into the online world, it does make you a bit of a... We'll go with silly boy. Shout out to my man, oldest Tyler, who says, not into video games, but this is in support of anything you choose to do. Love you, Simon. Keep on keeping on. Thanks, dude. That's really kind of you. Doesn't affect anything else, of course. Still going to do wrestling. Still going to do weird, irreverent videos when ideas pop in my head. But, so many people asked for the gaming podcast to come back. And this is it. We're going to try and do it every Wednesday. We'll do it every Wednesday. Maybe we'll shift around here and there. But that's like the wrestling podcast, too. It is an organic beast. Overwatch 2 got announced. Now, I'm not a big Overwatch fan. I respect how well it's done. I know there was that controversy recently. We're not going to talk about that. I don't have enough patience today to get into all of that. But what I did think was really cool was Blizzard announced that, even if you're an Overwatch 1 player, no game exists called Overwatch 1, but for the sake of this chat, all the heroes and all the maps will also be coming to that game. So you can buy Overwatch 2 should you so wish. But if you want to kind of stick with what you've got, they're just going to release all of that. I assume for free. I don't think, you tell me if I've missed something. And I just thought that was an incredible way to kind of approach the idea of what a sequel is. I know I especially am used to the whole thing that you get a game for a few years and then that just gets cut off at the legs and you move on to whatever's next. But as the publisher said, we're thinking of the long term here. We're not thinking of the short term. We want to reward our players. We want to have a happy community. And we think the best way to do that is to reward them for being fans of our game. And my word, can you imagine if more games did that? Imagine FIFA came out and just you can just download a patch, and all of a sudden you've got all the new players and updated teams. I wouldn't believe it. Are you kidding me? I still play FIFA 18 because I haven't caught up yet, and I need to. So I don't think many people are going to jump on this bandwagon because even if they had announced Overwatch 2 and this wasn't a thing, nobody would have cared, right? They would have been like, well, of course, this is just what video games are. But it's an excellent step in the right direction, I would say. Or at least a cool direction. It's a cool thing to do. If you put your business hat on, you can understand why somebody wouldn't do that. But yeah, I do think it will work, and I do think it will build up some goodwill, which Blizzard probably need right now, given the last few weeks, which also ties into the fact they announced Diablo 4. I remember all the controversy with Diablo 3 and what were they called? Auction houses. Oh, my days. Did I get washed? Did I get washed away in that? I'm not saying it wasn't relevant. I'm just saying there was a lot of angry people. But yeah, so Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 probably coming out not for a while. I would guess 2021, earliest 2021. I would imagine. I don't think they've announced a release date for either of them. Maybe they'll smash them out next year. You never know with video games. Everything gets delayed and everything gets moved back. Although, as the man Miyamoto once said, a delayed game only lasts for the disappointment only lasts for a few weeks, but a broken game lasts forever, or a bad game lasts forever. So don't release bad games. And the best news of the week for me was Luigi Mansion 3 was the fastest selling Switch game in the UK of 2019. I love Luigi's Mansion. I haven't bought number 3 yet, but I'm certainly going to. The first one was just this quirky, bizarre thing they came up for the GameCube. The second one on the 3DS was just an absolute blast. And everyone says this is the best of the bunch. And the fact that that's appealing to people as well. Isn't the Switch just great? Like, we kind of took a misstep with the Wii U, but now we're back with the Switch and everybody loves it. It just makes me happy. Makes me happy. Again, Nintendo nerd, Nintendo mark, Nintendo my favorite, Nintendo for life. I still got my 3DS. They're never going to because it makes no sense, but I want them to release more stuff for 3DS. I want more Zelda games on my 3DS. Link Between Worlds is one of the best games ever. Again, another game I gave a 10 out of 10 to. In fact, top of my head, games I gave out 10 out of 10 to when I was a video game reviewer. No one's going to agree. It's cool. Batman Arkham City and Batman Arkham Knight. Yeah, I know. Come at me. Last of Us, Oblivion, and... Oh, no, sorry, I didn't review it, but I reviewed Fallout 3 I gave a 10 to. I didn't do Oblivion, so Fallout 3. And yeah, Link Between Worlds. And GTA 5. That's it. I say, staring off into the distance, worried that that's not true. I believe that's it. They were my 10 out of 10s. And yeah, and to end the whole thing, and please do join in the chat as well, so we can talk about it. Games I'm playing at the moment. Nothing brand new. I want to get on Call of Duty. I always like to play each year to see if it's my bag. Hilariously, I'm still playing Mario Kart Tour on my Apple iPhone. I know, I'm the only guy in the world still playing it. I love it. I think it's great. So far, I've spent £0 and 0 pence. And while some of the microtransactions are a little bit eyebrow-raising, I haven't spent any money, and I'm really enjoying it. I just like sitting there and just play Mario Kart on my phone. I love that gameplay so much. And now that I've got used to it with my fingers and a touchscreen, that is an absolute fire video game. Fire video game for me. So, yeah, I love it. I know. You can get mad and go crazy. I think it's great. Also playing, I think, because basically, when you run out of health, it says, oh, you've got to buy more hearts if you want to play on. I just wait for the timer to cool down. But when people get pull games right, and this one, you have to do trick shots and things like that, they're so enjoyable. I can't believe how obsessed I am with it. I play it all the time. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And in terms of like proper games, I'm still playing Gears of War 5. I love it. I think it's an absolute return to the series. For the series, I should say. It remembers everything that was so cool about the original games, but makes sure it adds in new elements. I love Marcus Phoenix. He's my favorite video game character ever. I still think it's the best shooting you can get in games. I love the cover. I love Active Reload. I love roadie running. I'm a massive Gears of War fanboy. What can I say? Probably giving it a free pass. Maybe a lot of people don't agree. Online Suite is awesome. I like Rod Ferguson a lot. I've managed to meet him. He was cool. Also, used to have a character called Simon the Miller or Port Miller. You know, you don't know. I got to meet the guys at the Coalition, and they told me how much they like that character. Another reason why I am biased towards that video game. I sit down, I just play it for a bit. It makes me happy, and I turn it off, and I go to bed. And I do always play FIFA. A game of FIFA is just a good way to calm you down when you're stressed. It's as simple as that. I like it a lot. Overcooked 2 as well. If I've ever got people around and I want them to play a game, I play Overcooked 2. I think Overcooked 2 is just a brilliant, smart, easy to pick up but hard to master. One of those games. And that's it. That is my week in gaming, even though the show isn't called The Week in Gaming anymore. I'll let it run for a couple more minutes. If you want to tell me what you're playing or anything else you want to comment on, we can do it now. Ice Blaze in the super chat says, are you a fan of the terrible Terry Tate Reebok ads? I love those adverts. I love the Terry Tate adverts. I remember watching them on YouTube when I was working in video games. We all gathered around the computer to watch them. And of course, that's Coltrane as well. I can't remember the guy's name now, but brilliant adverts that were genuinely funny and genuinely well thought out. So yeah, 10 out of 10 all round. Sean Gilhorn super chat says, just got my son a Switch for his 30th birthday. 13th birthday. I just aged your son. 13th birthday this past weekend. I've always been an Xbox guy. What good games are on Switch that are geared towards adults? That's a great question. I mean, Breath of the Wild is absolutely a game for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're old, young, in the middle. It will sink its claws in. Same with Link's Awakening. You can see where I'm going here. Same with Super Mario Odyssey too. Like, the way those games are designed, obviously they have a kid-friendly look, but the gameplay itself and the way you interact with them certainly will give you the challenge of an adult game. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm trying to think what I've played on my Switch. I mean, I play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but it depends if you like Mario Kart games. But they're all the same on Nintendo. I mean, they're not necessarily adult looking, but you'll get something out of them. Unless you want to go whole hog. Doom's on there, Wolfenstein's on there. They're great games. And obviously, they're super adult, not for children at all. See what Google says. And then I can tell you if I've played them or not. Adult Nintendo Switch. There you go. Look, people are searching this all the time. Dark Souls Remasters on there. Leisure Suite Larry. Don't play that. Luigi's Mansion 3 is obviously on Switch. And again, that kind of falls into the thing that we were just talking about. Otherwise, I've never played any of these, so I'm not ever going to recommend that you do it. I do have Ring Fit Adventure in my house, which I am going to play for a video as soon as I can get my ass round to it. So you can keep an eye out for that if you want to see me looking like an idiot. I can't think of any others. I can't. Doom's on there. Bayonetta 2. Nah, these are meh. I mean, you could play Skyrim. That's on there. Depends if you played it or not. And it is kind of more family-centric console, I guess, right? I think that's a fair thing to say. Somebody asked me what my favorite wrestling video game ever was. It's either WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, or Here Comes the Pain, which are the most boring answers ever, but it's true. Dragon Quest is a good shout for Switch for everyone. Is a shout out there. Dragon Quest games are good if you like that kind of things. Somebody is thinking about Ride to Hell Retribution, one of the worst games I've ever played, but also genuinely hilarious. Tony Hawk Underground 2 is the best skating game in my opinion. Yes, it probably is the best one, to be honest. I even like Tony Hawk, was it Project 6 or Project 8, whatever the hell it was? That was the last good one to me, and then I kind of felt like we lost our way. Although that was better as a demo than a whole game, but I love that demo. All the demos on the Xbox 360 back in the day were awesome. Do you remember Fight Night Round 3? Oh, how excited did that get you about playing video games? I think that was the peak of my video game existence, I think. Finding the Switch on my SCART cable, whatever the hell it was, to switch it into HD, and then playing Oblivion for 301 hours. If you don't know that story, I played Oblivion for 300. I played Oblivion for so long, the quest book just went, there's nothing. You have nothing to do. You've done everything. Please stop playing the game. But yeah, that, PGR 3, Fight Night Round 3, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. Though, oh man, I miss those days. Those days were absolutely brilliant. Did you ever play Batman Begins? I did play Batman Begins. I thought Batman Begins by EA was all right. Now, don't get me wrong, it was an absolute mess. But it did introduce some concepts that were really cool for a Batman idea. And I'm not saying Rocksteady borrowed them, but they certainly worked their way into those games too. Batman Begins was all right, especially for a video game time back in 2005, whatever it was. Best Star Wars games, Knights of the Old Republic by a mile. One of my favorite games ever. Best twist in video games in history. Won't spoil it in case, you don't want a 20-year-old spoiler. I don't know if you could play it now. I don't think it would hold up. Maybe we need a revamp or a remaster or something like that. But yeah, it was absolutely great. Absolutely great. And my man Alex Birdfox in the Super Chat says, what do you think the AEW game will be like? And do you think they will capitalize on 2K20 as another way to get one over WWE? Have a good one, Si. Thanks, man. No, they'd have to have already had it in the works. I don't think it's going to... 2K will be fine. It just will. They will make amends. They will put out a product that that is worthy of the franchise. When you have a series that's been going that long, you're always going to get some duds. It's just the truth. It's the same with FIFA, Pro Evo, Madden. I don't need to start naming games. But in terms of the AEW game, I think, given everything they've said and given who's involved and given that they are so into the gaming world, it will probably play like the old Aki games, like, No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, WCW vs. NWO Revenge. And they should do that because there's an absolute clambering for that kind of game. You don't need to match the simulation effort that WWE are doing because you just don't. So I think they're going to do that. They're going to tap into a fan base that's desperate for it. And I think it's going to be massively successful, as All Elite Wrestling seems to be able to do with everything. I'd play that game. I think it'd be awesome. So do it. Make it just like the Aki games. Tap A for a light grapple, hold A for a hard grapple. You know the deal. Punches that you can hold down, the B button, whatever the hell it was, and you give them a proper stiff shot, and you can feel the weight behind the strike. I want all of that stuff. And I think, I think they'll do it. Someone says Revenge of the Sith is the best movie game in my opinion. I never played Revenge of the Sith. I don't think I even knew that they had a video game for it. I do remember of the age where anything came out with a movie that you'd seen, you wanted to play the video game, even though like 90% of them were terrible. Absolutely terrible. But then Wolverine came out. It wasn't called Wolverine. It was called Wolverine Origins, I think, and that one was all right. That was actually quite fun. Everyone was like, oh, I think that was 2007. Let's see how good my brain is. If I've got this right, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'll just be happy, I guess. Wolverine Origins, and that's the movie. I swear there was a game that was just called Wolverine Origins. Maybe I'm getting this wrong. Who knows? No, it was. It was 2009. I got that completely wrong. But it was literally was called the same, X-Men Origins Wolverine, yeah. That was right. That game. That was quite fun. I didn't realise it tied exactly into the game. Albert McGates the super chat says, just wanted to say my workout yesterday went well. Good, Albert. I like the fact that you weighed in. I know that you're smashing it. I like to know that you did well too. Keep doing it. Keep enjoying yourself. Keep training. I'm going to be heading there myself later. Got some weights to smash and bash, but we've got to, I regret saying that massively. We've got some work to do first. And of course, on a quick side note, if you are watching this live, sorry to podcast listeners, in 5 minutes over on What Culture Wrestling, of course, you can see my ups and downs for AEW Dark. Nothing to do with gaming. I'm just throwing it out there. Somebody asked what I thought of the Stalker franchise. Never played them. Don't like scary games. I'm a wuss. I'm a baby. I'm a coward. And everybody said they're scary, so never played it, but I know that they smashed it, hence why we're still talking about them today. Ryan Bingham in the super chat says, hey Simon, first ever super chat for anyone. Hope you are well. That's very kind of you, dude. Thank you very much. I am well. Hope you are too. Will you please do a video on your stance with the whole Blizzard free speech issue? If I'm going to, I need to sit down and research it a lot. I know it's very controversial, so I wouldn't want to just throw myself in there without doing it. And I worry I don't have the time. But as you've asked, Ryan, and as you asked very kindly, I will do my best. But I will say, for if you want the kind of man on the ground, for lack of a better term, opinion on that stuff, obviously my friend Jim Sterling is always talking about it. Whether you agree with him or you disagree with him, I can guarantee you'll be entertained. So make sure you check out Jim Sterling's channel. You just search for Jim Sterling. Again, another figure that has been going strong for years now, and more power to him. He's a good guy. And on that note, we'll wrap it up. Somebody asking me to play Outlast 1 and 2. I played the first Outlast. It almost killed me. I played a bit of the second Outlast. It almost killed me. My heart's weaker now these days. I'm getting older. Why do you want me to die? I don't like scary games. I'm all right with scary movies. Do not like scary games. But thank you so much for joining me today. Again, we're going to try and do this every Wednesday. Shout out to people on the feed that are now absolutely baffled about everything that's happened. But I appreciate you still being subscribed. And yes, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the feed. Just search for The Week in Gaming, soon to change to Simon Miller's Gaming Show on SoundCloud, iTunes, all of it. I'm going to migrate it across to Spotify soon, but hopefully I won't have to talk to you about that. Otherwise, at SimonMiller316 on Twitter and Instagram. I do have merchandise, simonmiller.bigcartel.com. And again, all of this is only possible thanks to patreon.com/SimonMiller316. So if you want this kind of stuff to continue and you do enjoy it and you don't mind throwing $1 into the pot, there's a link in the description below, or go and just search for that URL. And you'd have no idea how much I appreciate it. And my man Albert comes back to finish it in the super chat and says, have some more money just because you are great. You humble me, man. You all humble me. You always say nice stuff. I go away with a big smile on my face just because it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And I love that I can do this. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed talking about games again. It's been a damn long while. But, things that you're passionate about are things that you're passionate about. It's rare that they die altogether. So, look, enjoy whatever games you're playing. If you're going to play Death Stranding, I was trying to think of something witty. If you're going to play Death Stranding, good for you. Let me know what you think. I'll be intrigued. And in the meantime, we'll do this again next week. We're back.